Hi, I'm Sarah Wilmore and welcome to my Women's Golf podcast. In each episode, I will be interviewing a different woman from the golf industry, delving into their careers. I will explore how women have broken down barriers and reveal the untold stories of our sport. So today's guest is Irish golfer Olivia Mehaffey. Olivia represents Arizona State University and has won the NCAA championship with the team and is a four-time All-American. She recently played in the Augusta National Women's Amateur for the second time and recorded a top 10 finish. Olivia has enjoyed a successful amateur career, including winning the Irish Women's Open Championship, the Welsh Ladies Open Stroke Play Championship and the Curtis Cup. While she is currently preparing to turn pro, she has already played in 6 majors as an amateur. So you returned to play for Arizona State University for another season despite graduating last year. So how have you found being back?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be back. It wasn't really great how things kind of ended, middle of the pandemic and the season kind of cut off. So it feels quite fitting to be able to come back and finish, kind of the way I want to and on my own terms. And obviously disappointing, pushes turning pro another year back. But very, very grateful, to be with my team and have this opportunity for the past year.
So how many tournaments have you been able to play this year?
Yeah, so we've played, I think, maybe like 5 or 6. So it's been pretty good, definitely compared to home. And there's not much going on there yet. So,
have you had much of a lockdown this year?
No, not too much here. It's just been, kind of wearing your mask and being careful. But, event-wise and practice-wise, it's been pretty normal.
Oh, good. That's good. So you grew up in the Irish countryside. What has it been like living, studying and competing in the US?
Yeah, I mean, the first kind of few weeks was a different transition, very far from home and the culture is very different and everything here is a lot different. It's a big change. So, very fast paced and, you have to grow up and be very independent and you're on your own schedule. So I think all of that was kind of a big adjustment, but you kind of get used to it here and it's kind of go. But I kind of like it now.
What would you say the biggest differences between the two?
I would probably say everything here is very fast paced and you got to be here and then you're going here then and all over the place. I think at home it's a little bit more laid back and I'll go there then and I might go there, kind of it's just a lot busier here, I would say.
Do you have quite a strict training schedule?
So yeah, we have 20 hours mandatory with the team every week and then I have my own on top of that. So I mean most of my days are just spent at practice. So it's pretty strict, but I like to have a little bit of flexibility if something comes up and I need to take care of it.
What's the weather like in Arizona?
It's so good. I think it's 30 degrees here now. So it's pretty hot, but it's perfect. It's perfect golfing weather. It doesn't rain very often and never really too windy. So pretty perfect conditions.
Yeah, good conditions to play golf in.
Perfect for golf.
So you recently had a top 10 finish at the second Augusta National Women's Amateur. How would you describe the experience of playing at Augusta in such a groundbreaking event for women's golf?
Yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, to be there, how fortunate are we? So many people would absolutely love to, to play Augusta National and to get to compete there and to be showcased and to be part of the history is incredible. And I just think the event's so good for women's game and something I'm really passionate about is, getting the younger girls to have the opportunities that I've had through golf. And I think if 5 or 6 girls watch that and are inspired to want to compete there one day, I think it's, a successful event and, kind of the vision to grow the game. I think it's just perfect for it. So it's very special to be part of it.
When you were little, did you ever dream of playing Augusta?
It never even crossed my mind that I would play Augusta National, just not very many people in the world get to play it. So definitely wasn't something that I ever thought would happen. And it's, it's incredible to think that I have got to compete there and play there a couple of times now.
So how useful was it then, not only having a local caddy on your bag for that final round at Augusta, but having Brian McKinley, who caddied for the previous year's winner, Jennifer Cupco.
Yeah, I mean, definitely great. And, I think having a local caddy around there is huge because, the greens are so undulated and there's a lot of slopes and they're so fast. And having him was huge. And I think, having a good relationship, and I really got on well with him and I had a good time out there. I think that's so important too. So, I really wouldn't have wanted to experience it with anyone else. And we just had a great time out there for the 3 days of competition.
What did you two chat about as you went around the golf course?
A little bit of everything, kind of some stories of, when he was caddying there and, who he's caddied for and about the course. And, he actually grew up in Ireland. I think he was born here and spent his first 4 years. So a little bit about that and just everything, he's very easy to talk to. So it was quite nice. It was a good way to switch off between shots.
What was the game plan that you both had going into that final round?
Yeah, I think we just wanted to have a good time. That's what we had done for the first 2 days and it worked quite nicely. So I think we want to just enjoy it and take it all in and fairways and greens. And that was kind of the goal of boring golf. So more so just have a good time, enjoy ourselves and see what happens at the end of the day.
Surely it can't be boring playing at Augusta Day. There must have been things that happened that were unexpected.
Yeah, definitely. I wish it was a little bit more boring than what it was, but there was a few balls in the water and a few 3 putts and some crazy putts, super fast ones. So I think, there's never a dull moment when you're out there. And I mean, playing and thinking about some of the shots that the guys have played out there and the history behind the play is just incredible. So I would say probably one of the most enjoyable rounds I've ever had.
So you've played in majors, but you said this is one of the biggest events you've been in contention for. How did you feel throughout that final round, knowing that you were in with a chance of lifting the trophy?
Yeah, I mean, there is nerves in there, but I actually thought I was going to be a little bit more nervous. I think I was just really enjoying it and taking it all in, where I almost kind of forgot about it at some stages, out there. So I think I was a little bit less nervous than what I thought. I thought I was going to really feel it, but I wanted to enjoy it and take it all in. And that's something I didn't think I did in 2019. I didn't enjoy it as much as what I should have. So I think that almost overshadowed everything else.
What do you think the difference was? You said you felt more nervous in 2019. How do you think you've changed since then?
I think just being there for the first time and, not knowing the course and, obviously getting to play in 2019 really helped this year because, even knowing the course is small, but knowing how fast some of the putts are, that really helps. So I think that's, something. And I think I trust my game a little bit more and I feel I'm in control a little bit more of my ball. So I think that definitely helps when you're out there. Some of the shots are a little bit intimidating, but knowing that you're playing good and you feel like you're hitting it good, I think that definitely helps.
So you said in an interview after you played in the event and prior to the Masters that I can't see someone who's only played it a few times winning the Masters. It was the first appearance for Willzalas in the major tournament. What did you think watching a young player like him do so well on his first appearance?
Yeah, I think it was incredible. I just thought experience out there is huge. The greens are crazy and feeling comfortable out there is impressive. But he was so impressive. I got to watch a lot of it, and I think it's such a cool story. He did a lot of Monday qualifiers and isn't even a full member of the PGA, and he's second in the Masters. So it's incredible. And I think it's stories like that are so important for sport and highlighting those, and so fun, incredible to watch, honestly.
How did the performance of such a young player like him affect your thoughts and feelings as you make that transition from 18th in the world amateur golf rankings to competing as a pro?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think those kind of stories were, kind of the same as Sophia Popov winning the British Open. Those kind of stories are the ones that you realize, anything's possible. Sport is so crazy and you just don't know what is around the corner. You could be playing your worst golf and win a tournament. You just don't know. It's just so unexpected. So I think to see those crazy stories and see people succeed is fun to watch. And then it also gives you that little bit of hope that you just don't know with sport. So it's exciting.
Do you feel like you've ever had any of those moments where you don't feel you've necessarily got your A game, but you managed to get the win?
Yeah, I think in sport, that's, sometimes it's about winning's more about, getting the best out of your worst game. And that's the exciting part. You could shoot 3 or 4 over, and then the next day you can shoot 8 or 9 under. And that's, the inconsistency, whereas you don't see that in a lot of sports. Running, you're always kind of around your time. You're never going to PB by 6 or 7 or 8 seconds usually. So I think that's, kind of the crazy thing with golf. And I think recently, I was struggling a little bit at the start of the year, and then everything came together one day and I shot 10 under, and my results before that weren't really indicating that. So I think that's a crazy thing with sport. It's so unexpected.
How do you overcome that mental barrier then? If your game's there, but you're struggling perhaps to score and compete in competitions, how do you overcome that to then keep going and pushing forwards?
Yeah, I think for me, I break down every area of where my game's at. And that's kind of what I did. I had 2 bad weeks, but I looked at everything. I'm like, okay, I'm driving it better. This is better. This is improved. And you see that. And sometimes the results are lagging a little bit behind the progress that you've made, or you've had some good practices and you actually feel good. And that's when you really have to trust the work you've put in and the process and the journey that you're on. So I think, having a good team around you constantly that's, got a good structure, got a good plan, we've improved, this is better, and just kind of go out and play, and the results will take care of themselves.
Well, I think that's something a lot of us in the UK can relate with right now, because we've just come out of a 3rd lockdown. And I mean, I don't play at the level you're at, but I have a 1 handicap, and having not picked up a golf club in 3 months, and suddenly you feel like one day you've got, I don't know, your putting's good, and then suddenly my long game was good and my putting went, and it's really trying to get everything to come together at once, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the crazy thing. And the reason we love this game is it's so challenging, and you just feel you've always left shots out there, or something can always be better, and it kind of challenges and pushes us. But, I think you just have to kind of go out and play and see where your game's at. And it's so tough having not played for so long. Like for me in the first lockdown, I was home and I was like absolutely itching to get out, and you go out and you play and you don't really have expectations because you're not sure what's going to be good or what needs work. So I think that's, kind of the battle for the first few weeks when you get back out of the lockdown.
Yeah, definitely. So you've won the Irish Women's Open, the Welsh Ladies Open straight play, and you've played in a winning Curtis Cup team. You've had a hugely successful amateur career. As you come towards the end of that and you think of turning pro, what's been your highlight?
Oh, it's such a hard question. I would say maybe winning Curtis Cup in Ireland was so special. Just, having my family there and having, so much support and so many people that have been part of the journey and the reason I am where I am today, and my coaches and all of that, having them there was so special. And then I think winning nationals my freshman year, that was just incredible with the team, and the biggest thing you can do out here. And so I'd say either one of those. I think the moments for me in my amateur career that stick out are the ones with the team. And I think it's so fun when you get to play with the girls, and obviously golf's so individual. So I think in the future I'm going to look back when I'm pro and miss those moments of playing in a team and sharing and making memories with the girls.
Do you have ambitions to do more team events once you turn pro, like the Solheim Cup?
Yeah, I would absolutely love to play the Solheim Cup. Watched it on TV as a little girl growing up, and the same with the Ryder Cup. So it's definitely on my one of my goals in the future, and something that I would really love to be part of.
So in 2016, you played your first professional event, the Women's British Open. And last year alone, you competed in 3 majors, making a cut for the first time in the ANA Inspiration. What is it like to get that experience of playing in major championships as an amateur?
Yeah, I think it's huge, and I'm very lucky to have had those opportunities. And I just think they're going to help with the transition to turn into pro golf. You have a little bit of experience about what it takes. And I think each one of those weeks shaped my game. The players I played with, the things I saw, the things I took from those weeks where I'm like, okay, I need to go and improve this. This needs to be better. And I think it will definitely help with the transition where I feel comfortable out there. I notice a difference between the first time I played and the last majors I played in. I just feel so much more comfortable out there, and I think that's huge. So having that experience as an amateur, I think it will definitely stand by me a lot when I make the jump to pro golf.
What are your standout memories from playing in some of those majors?
Oh, so many. I had my old coach on the bag for me at the British Open a couple of times, so that was very nice and special. I had my family there watching, and I just love when they can come and watch. And and I had my college coach caddy for me. I think just sharing those moments and being on that stage and getting to be around the players and something I'm so passionate about golf and I love it and I enjoy it so much. So I think, competing at the highest level is so fun and enjoyable. So I think there's just so many memories from all of them.
So last year you got to play with Laura Davis at the Women's British Open. What was that like?
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. It was so special, to be out in the first group with her and just see how she plays. She's incredible and everything she's done for the game and her achievements are just unbelievable. And it was just so fun. I think I was in awe the whole way around. Just, this is so cool. So definitely very enjoyable.
What did you learn from her?
I think her ability to hit so many shots, it was so windy when we played and, she was hitting these little like chip 6 irons and I'm trying to hit this 8 iron high, and the wind's hitting it and moving it. So I think her ability to kind of create shots and hit different shots is very impressive.
Is there a standout part of your game that you feel is quite a bit better than the rest of it?
I've always felt like I've been a good putter, in situations where I need to hold putts or in general. So I would always have said that putting was a strength of mine.
Yeah, definitely. Do you work on that quite a lot then?
Yeah, I enjoy it a lot. I think it's fun, and obviously it's very mental, and a lot of people struggle with it. So it's kind of fun to, be known as a good putter, and people come up to you and they're like, "Oh, you're such a good putter." I think that gives you more confidence. So it's definitely something I enjoy practicing, and I enjoy when I'm competing.
I find as well with my own game that I can sort of end up on the putting green for a couple of hours, and you just sort of get lost in it, which you don't really get the same experience with on the range.
Yes, definitely. I just think it's easy, it's something you do for fun. You can have putting competitions. There's just so many components to, speed work, slope. It's so enjoyable and, it's not taxing on the body and it's not like you're standing on the range hitting balls for a few hours and it feels like a grind. So I definitely think it's the most enjoyable part for me to practice.
So when you're playing in those major championships, how do you prepare for the tournaments?
Normally, as I would for any other tournament, I try to do a little bit of research on the course before I go there and see what it's going to demand and then kind of tailor my practice towards that. So, if the course is got big greens or small greens, or if there's a lot of bunker shots, or if I need to be driving it straight, I'm going to go and try and play some courses that are quite narrow off the tee. So I think really just seeing what the golf course demands and trying to tailor my practice towards that would be the main thing. And then obviously rest, those kind of weeks take a lot out of you. So I think that's important in an area that sometimes is missed a little bit.
So how did you prepare for going to play at Augusta then?
Well, I had a little crazy. I had 3 weeks straight golf before that. So played one tournament into another tournament, and then I went straight to Augusta. So kind of the preparations probably started, before, but we're very lucky at our facility at Arizona State. It's slopey, fast greens. So kind of practicing on that regularly, which sets it up very nicely for Augusta. But because I did a 4-week stretch, I didn't have as much time specifically to prepare before for that. But, in the weeks building up before those 4 weeks, I'm practicing there daily. I'm used to fast greens. I'm used to a lot of slopes. So that helps.
So you said about rest being key before a big tournament. Did you feel that then in the final round?
The week before in the tournament, I really limited my practice after I was playing. So, normally say I practice for 2 hours. I really didn't do much, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, get in, do what I need to do to be prepared for the next day and get out. And I really focused on rest, making sure I was getting enough sleep before I traveled to Augusta, even though I was competing. So that was something that I was very mindful of the week before.
What sort of physical preparation do you do then when you're not competing in tournaments?
Yeah, a lot of working out, a lot of speed work. I think that's kind of where the game's going, and it's very important. I do think in the next few years we're going to see the girls very long, and I think it's going to be a huge benefit having that. And it's nice, weeks that you're off where you can, go to the gym and you can lift, and it's nice. And then obviously more so on the road, maintenance, stretch, and making sure no injuries, that kind of thing. So I feel like there's two kind of parts to it.
And you did have an injury last year where you hurt your hand. How did you overcome that?
Yeah, it was tough. It was the first injury I've ever had, and broke my hand hiking, just had a fall and had to have a surgery. So it was a little bit rough, and I was out for a long time. So I think that was tough, but I think the lessons you kind of learn through that is key. And, having that time away, I really struggled from the game because, golf's a huge part of who I am. And, but I think that kind of stands by you, and for the future, if anything like that ever comes up again and happens. But it was tough. It was tough mentally, not competing, and, seeing everybody else competing and being at home and knowing you can't do anything. And then obviously the rehab and getting the strength back. So it was pretty tough, honestly.
How did you fill your time at home?
Oh, I went for a lot of walks. I was trying not to hurt myself. I wanted to work out, so I was doing a little bit of legs, but nothing high risk, and putting with one hand, and a lot of time with my friends, and my family, which is one of the nice things. I'm never home all summer, and I got to spend a lot of time with them, which was really nice. So that was one of the blessings, I guess, from that. But doing things slowly and trying to make the day go. I had 2 summer school classes, so that kind of helped, where that kind of kept me busy as well.
So what did you study at university?
So I graduated in sociology, and I'm doing a master's in organizational leadership right now.
Oh, so you're still studying at the moment?
Yes, master's. So it's a little bit challenging with golf. It's pretty demanding.
Yeah, well, I'm doing a master's as well at the moment. I find it's a lot more hours than undergrad.
Yeah, like a lot of reading and less, I would say, busy work. I always feel, there's just, so you feel like there's always something to do or to be reading. So
how do you manage to balance that with your golf?
Yeah, I'm quite good at, I'm quite structured and organized, and golf is my priority. So, when it's bright outside and the weather's good and early mornings, I'm trying to get out there and get my golf done. So, in the evenings I can study and do school. But I think just kind of being organized and having a good plan, that definitely helps.
Are you quite an early riser as well?
Yes, early to bed, early riser. That's normally me. So I love being out practicing at 6:30 or 7. That's just the best time of the day for me.
Is it still warm in Arizona then at that time?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's like 25 degrees in the morning. So it's honestly perfect.
Oh, it sounds great. So the current state of where women's golf is now, what do you think about where it is?
I think it's improved so much, and I think it's, it has to be credited for how much things are better and how they have improved. And, there's more money than what there was before, and there's more opportunities, and there's more of a spotlight. There's still a long ways to go, and obviously we're not even close to the guys. And but I do think, the right initiatives are in place, the right programs are in place, the right things are being done. I just think it's going to be a process to where we get to where things are a little bit more equal.
What do you think needs to change?
I think probably firstly, like media attention and media coverage. We're not given the opportunity to showcase, and it's events like Augusta where the whole round's broadcasted, and I can't even describe how many messages I had, and people are impressed. They're like, oh my gosh, you guys are good. And I'm like, yeah, we are, and it doesn't get the media coverage it deserves. And I think that's kind of the starting block. Sponsors don't, get the opportunity to see how we play. And, if they don't get to see it, then how do they know, so I think it all kind of starts, with the media and the coverage and, having those opportunities to showcase what we can do.
Yeah, well, I loved watching the Augusta National Women's Amateur. I watched most of the final round with my mum, and it was just so competitive. I think there was a point where there was about 10 players in contention, and then obviously we had the playoff. Whereas with the Masters, you didn't really get that this year. Hideki was sort of running away for it for a while.
Exactly. And, that's the cool thing is, it was so entertaining, and it's the same in 2019 with Maria and Jennifer. And, so many people were like glued to it, and they were like, that was the best. It was better than any Masters, the final 9 holes, what they did and what they put on. And I think that's so exciting, that event can open people's eyes and kind of change the perspective maybe about women's golf a little bit. And they're the opportunities and they're the moments, and that's what the sport needs, is just to have that platform to really show what we're capable of.
So we have the ANA Inspiration, and we now have the Augusta National Women's Amateur, but there's still a lot of comments online about the possibility of a women's Masters. What do you think about that?
I don't know. It's tough. I think Augusta National is so committed to growing the game, obviously with drive, chip and putt, and then obviously this as well, and having the Masters, it would be incredible, but I don't know if it's something that will happen. And I think we have to be so grateful for them, for their initiatives in place already. But I mean, in the future, who knows? It would be amazing, of course.
What do you hope to be able to do yourself once you turn pro to be able to grow the game?
Yeah, I think I love when I'm home spending time with the girls. We have a really good girls program called Girls for Golf for Life. And I love on my Saturdays off, if I can go in the morning for a couple of hours and spend some time with the girls. And, it's something I'm very passionate about, but it's just, I see what golf has given me and the opportunities, and the doors is open. And I know that I wouldn't have got to travel or as much as I have, or meet the friends I have, or had the life experiences I have if it wasn't for golf. And, I want other girls to have that opportunity too. So I think, spending time with them, and if I can inspire 2 or 3 girls to pick up the game and fall in love with the game, then I feel that's a huge win for me in my career.
Well, I'm sure you'll inspire much more than 1 or 2. What was it like when you were growing up? Were there many other girls playing?
Not so much. I grew up at a smaller club called Tanchgee before I also joined Royal County Down when I was 10, and I was the only girl, and I was very lucky that the guys let me play with them and took me under their wing. But I didn't have any other girls, and it's so nice now for me when I go to Royal County Down and I'm practicing, or I'm at Tanchgee, and there's like all these little girls with their friends, and it's something I didn't have and I would have loved to have. And so I think it's fun now to see where golf is and see there's a lot more girls playing and they have their friends. But when I grew up, it was just me and the boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I had a similar experience. I think I was always the only girl in the group coaching sessions growing up, and you always wish that another girl would come along. And eventually it happened.
Yeah, it's just tough. And, I think we're probably 2 rare ones where we stuck it out. A lot of girls quit because they don't have any friends and they're only playing with the guys. And, and it's sad that, that's the reason why they stopped playing, is because of that situation. So it's nice now to see the girls have their friends and they all go out together. And I think that's so much more enjoyable, and that definitely helps with, keeping them in the sport.
Yeah, well, I remember even sort of 7 years ago, doing junior county golf, so many of the girls that were in the teams at the time, and a few of them, better players than I was, and they don't play golf anymore, and it just seems like such a shame.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are your plans regarding turning pro?
A little bit up in the air, I'll probably turn pro in summer at some stage. There's a lot of things that go into it, and obviously COVID is a factor, and just waiting on visa stuff and pro invites and sponsors and all of that. So I'm kind of in the process now of looking into that. So hopefully in the summer, that's my plan.
Do you have a set of goals in mind as to where you'd like to be in sort of a year, 5 years time?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have, those long-term goals that I want to achieve. I want to be world number 1. I want to win majors. I want to compete. But, for the rest of this year, my goal is to get my LPGA card, Q schools at the end of the year. And that's kind of my priority. So that's more so my goal and where I'm working towards right now.
And can you talk us through what happens at tour school?
Yes, so there's 3 stages. Stage 1's normally in Palm Springs. Stage 2 is normally in Florida, and stage 3 is normally in North Carolina. I don't know the exact numbers, but it might be, say, top 70, then top 30, and then top 20 get their cards. So you kind of have to advance through the 3 stages, and then at the end of stage 3, I think, say the top 20 get their card. So it's a long process. It's a tough process to make it through, and you've got to play some good golf.
And presumably fiercely competitive as well.
Yes, definitely. And obviously with no Q school last year, I'm sure it will be even more competitive this year, where, all the players that wanted to go last year are going to be going this year. So definitely competitive.
Do you have any, hopefully the plan is to get the tour card, but do you have any idea what you do if maybe you just miss out on that?
Not something I have thought about. We're lucky. The European tour is also very strong. So I'm sure I will play both Q schools, and so that's, kind of the plan.
Well, you've been playing some fantastic golf, so I'm sure you'll do well.
Thank you.
So I've got to ask you the classic question: who would be your dream four-ball?
Oh, it's always such a hard one. I think Rory, Tiger, and Carlotta Saganda. I always have fun playing with her.
You went to the same university, didn't you?
Yes, she did. And we have the same coach, and we get to practice together a lot, which is really nice. She's always someone I've looked up to a lot.
What sort of advice has she given you about making that transition from the amateurs to the pro game?
Yeah, she's great. I practice with her daily. So, just kind of helping me with my game, and, having the same coach definitely helps, and kind of thinking the same. But, she always tells me, like, you're ready, you're good enough, just go and play golf. Like, don't worry about anything else. And I think she's very good at that. So I think just, she's like, it's all there. You're a good enough player to just go and play, and don't worry about anything else, which is nice to come from someone like her.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, I wish you all the best with that journey, and I'm excited to watch you compete.
Thank you.
So who would you like to see come on the podcast next?
Ooh, that is a good question. There's so many good females from home that would be interesting to talk to. I think NC Mehmet would be a good one. She has a couple really good perspectives on golf, obviously working for Sky and then playing professionally. And she's a fun character. I played a lot of amateur golf with her. So I would say probably NC.
Yeah, I actually had her on the second podcast. She was brilliant to talk to.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I must listen to that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure you'd enjoy it. It was brilliant to talk to Olivia about her career so far and making that next step to the professional ranks. She mentioned NC Mehmet at the end there, and if you haven't already, check out episode 2 of the Women's Golf Podcast, which I recorded with her. Perhaps Olivia's good friend and top 25 world golf ranking player, Carlotta Saganda, could come on the podcast instead. Thank you so much for listening to this episode with Olivia Mehaffey. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, rate the podcast and give it a 5-star review. Keep listening for new episodes of the Women's Golf Podcast every other Monday with me, Sarah Wilmore.